Well, good morning. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce a remarkable individual who embodies the spirit of resilience and connection. Today, we have with us Violet, who inspires countless individuals on their journeys of change and personal growth. How are you,
I'm
Violet?
doing great. Good morning,
Good.
Chrissy. It's so great to be here.
Yes, I'm glad you're with us.
Thank you.
So, I know a lot about your personal story, but we do want to give the listeners more of that story.
Okay,
So, let's get into some questions.
go ahead.
What were some of your biggest challenges you faced during and after your divorce, and how did you overcome them?
Well, first of all, it's definitely the financial piece that you're thinking. So you
Mm,
had a household that sometimes struggled with two incomes. So now you're looking at one income. But the most challenged for me was my children's mental health. Having to deal with that, what would that look like, and
right,
how was I going to help them when I didn't know how broken I was, and how was I going to help myself? So that was definitely one of the
right.
biggest things I think that I had to deal with
Wow.
and overcome. And it's just day by day. I mean, Chrissy, it's every day you figure out what's going to be what am I going to tackle first?
Right.
And you figure things out, right? That's what we do.
Hmm. I love that. I really do. Okay, so how did you begin to rediscover yourself? We talked about the kids. How did you and your passions pursue them like post divorce? And were there any specific activities or practices that helped you in this journey?
Oh, absolutely. I think for me, it was start to heal and reading, meditation,
Mm.
reflexology,
Oh, wow.
starting to learn and discover that I had a voice. I think that was one of the things for me, is that rediscover who I was, because I was a wife, I was a mother, I was a cook, I
Mm.
cleaned, did the chores,
Yeah.
but there wasn't any space for Violet. So having to rediscover that was definitely a, an eye opener for me. I didn't know that there
Yeah.
was something out of what my roles were in that household.
Wow. So I'm sure that's a lot of self discovery in that process.
It was.
What were like the boundaries, some of the boundaries that you had to put up in establishing like, hey, there's something that I need to do for myself here.
It was trying to figure out to make time for me.
Mm.
Because again, what we used to run into a household with by two people, two adults, now it was just
Just
me.
one. Right.
So trying to find the time for myself, trying to figure out crying in the car. I did that a lot.
Mm.
So I
Yeah.
wouldn't get home and my kids wouldn't see me. So if I felt down, I'd say, hey, I'd be back. And I'd drive around,
Yeah.
cry for a little bit, and then get better. And then I'd
Mm.
come back home and picked up where I left off.
Right.
So, but it's mostly finding time for yourself to be able to look deep into who you are,
Mm.
and what is your next chapter going to look like?
Right.
How does that even start?
Yeah. I love that. Okay, so what role did your support networks or communities like friends, family support groups, and how did that play in helping you navigate this new chapter?
Well, that was huge,
Yeah.
definitely. Um, Family. I've always had the support of my family, my sister, my mom, my
Mm.
brothers have always been there. But I must say that my friends played a huge part of it,
Mm.
because I was running and running and running, doing, but I never had a break. And I remember one specific moment. I was working at the Green Sheet, and a friend of mine was there. And I thought I was having a heart attack. So she said, come on, let's go. We got to go to the hospital. So, of
Mm.
course, it was a panic attack,
Yeah.
right? After 2 years of stressing and trying to figure post divorce and what I was doing right and wrong. And she said, Violet, I have an appointment with my therapist on Saturday, but you're going to take my place. And I'm
Oh.
going to make sure that you go. And she had been trying for me to go. I never made the time for it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I didn't have a choice, because I knew I was going to meet her afterwards,
Mm-hmm.
and I ended up going, and I sat in that chair and I boohooed, cried,
Okay, there's nothing wrong with that.
and cried in front of a stranger. But
Mm-hmm.
it was the journey of me starting to heal myself. I didn't even know what the healing process was. It wasn't
Right.
talked to as much as it is now. So that's where I began. And till this
Wow.
day, I don't go every week like I used to back then.
Yeah.
I go once a month now, and it's not, it's because it's something that I know that I need to sit there to talk about what's going on, whether it's good, bad, or whatever situation is. But
Yeah.
just that 1 hour alone, without the phone, without the kids, without work, without that
Mm.
interruption, it's it's very well needed.
Right. Definitely. I love therapy, so I'm glad we're talking about that because it is very important, especially in
Yes,
a journey like yours.
right.
So, um, but in what ways did your perspective on relationships and love change after your divorce? And how has that influenced your future decisions now?
Well, it's been almost 9 years, and trust was huge, and it is huge for me now still.
Mm,
Not believing, I think, in the partner or the future partner, and I still have that guard up where it's like, well, can I really trust you? I'm I always give 110%. That is who I am. I don't
right.
know how to give 50% of myself, right? But that doesn't mean that the other person is going to do the same. So having to realize that I have to maybe mirror their energy and
Mm,
start seeing what that looks like.
right.
But I want to trust. I want to love again. I want to be in a relationship again. But
Hmm.
right now, all this journey has been about finding myself, loving myself, enjoying that peace that I have right now.
Yeah.
So I think it's a learning process, absolutely, and knowing that you're able to trust
Hmm.
when God puts the right person
Right.
for me.
And that's a big one even for me, I must say. Trust, once it's gone, it's hard to kind of build that back up and open your heart to something new.
Right.
So how do you, or what would you tell someone that's really struggling in that department with like trusting again and getting back into the dating world and wanting to, love again, but there's just so much hurt and pain there and the lack of trust. It's like, because, you know, it's kind of like protecting yourself,
It
right?
is.
You want to protect yourself, like you said. If you're a giver and you're an empath and you are always the one that's mostly giving
Right.
instead of receiving, it may be a little harder for those individuals to navigate
And
relationships.
it,
So,
it is. It is. But I feel that once you start believing in yourself and you know
mhm,
your worth and your value, and you know that who you're going to be able to open up to, it's you'll know when that person comes to you,
okay,
but you're going to do it more cautiously. You're not going to give in your 110%. You're going to go in slowly and kind of try to get things out of that other person, but definitely take it slow. It's not, I'm not desperate to running into something
right,
just because I've been single for so long. I want to
yeah,
be able to open up to that person and take it slow so I can get to know that person. That person could get to know me as well.
right.
But don't rush into anything. Just because we've been alone for such a long time doesn't mean that I have to rush into the first guy or second guy that comes into my life.
Mm, that's it right there. What they say, like, don't go grocery shopping when you're hungry. Kind of like
Something
that,
like
right?
that,
Kind
very similar.
of
Yeah,
similar. Like if
absolutely.
you've been so like love deprived for a long time,
Right.
or you've been out of a relationship for so long, when you do get in a relationship, you get excited and you
You
wanna,
do.
maybe you're like jumping off feet, head in first, whatever. But you
But we
kind
have
of
to
can
watch
conserve,
their
right?
energy as well.
Conserve,
Yeah.
yeah, and just like you said, a little by
Yes.
little, really build the relationship up. So
Absolutely.
I love that for sure. And what advice would you give to someone who is hesitant or scared to start their next chapter after a divorce? Or what message of hope can you share?
Oh my goodness. That there is definitely there's so much more out there after divorce. You may think
Mm-hmm.
it's too late for you to start over. It's never too late. It really isn't. You have to put yourself out there, but you have to understand that it's a new chapter in your life, Chrissy. It's a
Mm-hmm.
new journey. It's a new adventure. It's your story. It's a new story for you, not nobody else's.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ever give up or think that it's too late for you to start over, because I can guarantee you that once you take that leap of faith, it is only going to get better for you, because you're going to get happier. You're going to be happier. You're going to be able to find yourself, who you are, love yourself, appreciate you, and value yourself, because sometimes your partner doesn't do it for you, and that's okay. As long as you have it in your heart to love and appreciate yourself, only
Mm.
great things are going to come out of that. You got to take that leap of faith.
I love that.
And two things that have sat with me a lot have been
Mm.
trade fear into faith
Mm.
and worry into worship. That has definitely been my mantras. My faith is
Yeah.
everything. I can't do anything without it. And I want everybody to know that we can all do it. We can do it by ourselves. We really can.
Mm-hmm.
We can start over and be the best version of yourself,
Right.
and discover what happiness is and loving yourself.
So you talked a little bit about your mental health journey, and that's something that I talk about a lot in my personal story,
Right.
my personal journey. What was one of the biggest tools for you that helped you become a little more vulnerable and really get to the root issues of like the mental problems that you were facing?
Well, I want to say it was more towards my children.
Mm-hmm.
So when they started isolating, or crying when they thought I wasn't noticing, their behavior changed, their grades changed, I knew something was wrong, right? So I started going to different doctors and seeing different psychiatrists, psychologists, noticing what the difference was between a psychiatrist and psychologist.
Yeah.
In my culture, there's not much belief
Mm.
of going to see a psychiatrist or psychologist, or they don't need to be on medications. And I started researching, going, visiting, reading everything I could about it, because my girls were not open. I could see their behavior, but they weren't open about it.
Right.
But I had seen different signs, um, of what that looked like. So I started taking them to therapy,
Mm.
being more open with them, talking to them. But was a big thing, Chrissy, that was learning the triggers and then helping them overcome that. So once I learned what triggered them, what conversations, what that looked like, what a panic attack looked like, what an anxiety attack looked like, then I knew what to do. And unfortunately, with my oldest, I'd have to pull her out of school a lot
Mm.
because she'd have them. And on several occasions, I would grab her, we'd go sit in the shower, cold water,
Mm-hmm.
both of
Wow.
us with our clothes, shoes, everything on,
Wow.
rocking her until the water calmed her down. And
Wow.
unfortunately, it was multiple times that we had to go through it, until we learned breathing techniques, until
Mm-hmm.
we learned to go outside and walk, until we learned to listen to certain music. So then, as time goes by and you go to therapy, then they kind of start giving you other techniques to use.
Right.
So as they got older, then they started understanding that. So,
Yeah. Let me just say, you're a phenomenal mom because just being able to identify that in
yeah,
your kids, I feel like we've come from a place or a time or a culture
yes,
where we couldn't even identify these
right,
things. So I think, like you say, I work on a what I call IDS like plan,
yes,
where it's identify it, discuss it, and let's solve it. If we don't do the first step, which is identifying it, we're never going to get to the end result,
right.
which is solving it. So kudos to you. I want to
Thank
applaud
you.
you, really, really and
Thank you.
truly want to applaud you for just taking the time to pay attention to your children and noticing the signs of when they weren't well.
And you have to accept it. As a
Yeah,
parent, you have to accept that.
right.
I saw many children under the age, those teenagers that they would come over, teenagers used to come to our house a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw it, but their parents didn't see it.
Wow.
So it was a comfort for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have connection actually with a lot of those teenagers that are now
Yeah.
young adults for that very reason. And sometimes us as parents, either we don't want to see it or we don't know how to handle it because that wasn't taught to us when we were young.
Right.
So we think it's a phase, it's a teenage phase, they'll get over it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's important as parents that no matter how difficult life has for us, and life is to us and what it does to us, you're also hurting your children. And that reminds me of after years, 6, 7 years in after our divorce, my kids told me, Mom, we're still waiting for Dad to come and apologize to us, tell us why he left, but also think that he didn't just leave you, he left us.
Right.
I had never thought of that until they said it out loud.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Wow.
So dads, have a conversation also with your children.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Not just your situation with your spouse.
Right. I think the lines do get blurred sometimes when it's a relationship. You don't understand that when their children are involved,
Right.
there's some fallout there as well with the children, as you said. Like, you're not just leaving one of the parents, you're
Right.
leaving the children as well. And so, wow, I really respect everything that you've
Yeah.
gone through, and how you're navigating it is, to me, phenomenal.
Thank you.
Really, like I said, just being able to navigate, identify, and not only just identifying it, but like I said, you're getting through that, discussing it, and you're solving it. You're giving her the tools, you're giving her the techniques to overcome what she's dealing with. And
Right.
That's really, really great.
And unfortunately, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But it's more heartbreaking if you don't identify it, if you don't accept it, and if you don't do something about it.
Right.
Because it's real. Anxiety, depression, bipolar, PTSD, all of the above are, it's a disease. And it's something very important that as parents, we have to teach ourselves so we can know how to help them. And sometimes they don't want to hear, oh, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. It's just in your head. We don't know what's in our head. But if we hold them, just sit down with them. Just sit down literally and just hold your child for whatever long and don't say anything. That hug is going to mean more to them than you tell them, you're fine, you're going to be okay. It's okay. In their head, they're not okay. Right. So just hug your kids.
Yeah, love the babies.
That's it.
Okay, so I do want to switch to relationship topics a little more.
Sure.
So what's been going on in the dating scene? How are you navigating that? If you feel open to sharing.
Well, what can I say? I've dated a couple of times in this journey since my divorce, and it's either giving in too much too soon, which is why I talked about that. And I started a couple of years in. I started a relationship, and my partner said, "Yeah, you're not ready." He wanted sleepovers. I had kids at home. I can't sleep over. I said, so he's like, "Yeah, you're not ready." I said, "I don't think I am." So that was 2 years in, and that was a few months, and that was something that, you know what, you're right, I'm not ready.
Right.
Because I still hadn't discovered who I was. I was still pleasing everybody but myself. So left that there. I left that to rest for several years until I healed myself, did the work for me, journaled. I've got like 10 or 12 journals, I think. I journal every day,
I love journaling.
but it's huge for me. And now I am back out. You know, I go out with my friends a lot. I do not do online dating. That is not for me.
No online dating, guys.
No, I tried it for a week. It does not work. Let me tell you.
The dating apps.
No,
I don't know.
Cannot do that. So now what do you call it? Dating in the wild? Is that
Dating
what you'll
in the
call
wild,
it now?
yeah,
Going
yeah.
out, like literally going out
in the wild.
Yes. So I'm definitely going out more and trying to be a little bit more open because I have been told that I'm not very approachable.
Oh, wow.
And I've asked a couple of friends, well, I've gone out 3-4 times and I haven't been approached. What's the problem?
Yeah.
And what they say is, you look high maintenance, which means expensive.
Wow.
Or you look intimidating. I said, well, I'm not expensive. I mean, you know, I don't think I am. But I don't know how I'm intimidating. How does that look like?
Right. Right.
I'm not going to change how I dress. I'm not going to change how I sit. I don't know what that means.
Right.
But if you don't come and approach me, then how are we gonna know,
We're
right?
compatible. We
That's
can't
right.
even start anywhere if we don't,
Yes. But I'm practicing my
Yeah.
nonverbal skills now, where I can
Oh, maybe you
introduce
can teach us
myself,
something
turn
because,
a little over.
right,
Yes.
give a little, what,
Move your hair a little bit. Look at the guys for a split second, and then come on back.
yes.
But definitely be open, not be close to
Okay.
your
So maybe we
closed
have more
body,
body
and
this
open.
way,
Nothing. Don't
you
put your
know?
purse on your chest. Just kind of be
Mm-hmm.
more open, more inviting. So practicing a little bit of that. I'll
Mm.
let you know on the next if it
Yeah, we might need to
works.
do another segment about, body language
Yes,
and
absolutely.
dating. I love
Yes.
that. No, but you've said a lot of good things. And as me, fresh out of a relationship and getting into the dating world, it is different navigating it with a child for
Right.
sure, and having competing responsibilities.
Right.
And then, like you said, I've heard that too. Like, I'm intimidating. I'm like, what does that mean?
Yes.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
Right.
There was one guy that said something really funny, and me and him joke about it all the time, so he does not mind me sharing. But um, we were texting back and forth, and I would notice sometimes he wouldn't respond, and I would
Right.
have to keep texting him. So I asked him, I'm more of an open communication.
Right.
Let's
Same.
let's talk about it. Like I said, IDS, identify, discuss, and let's solve it. And he revealed to me that he wanted to be pursued, and I didn't know how to feel about that.
Excuse me.
Yeah,
Okay,
excuse me, sir.
now. Have you
He
seen
said
Chrissy?
it. He
Hello?
said it out loud, and I was just like, I was thinking that,
No.
but I've never had a guy just flat out tell me he wanted to be pursued.
Right.
And I feel
Interesting.
like a lot
How
of
did that
guys,
make you feel?
it made me feel like a man. It made me feel like a man, and I just was like, I knew it. I knew it in my spirit, just the way, we were communicating,
Right. His behavior,
and
his
his
patterns.
behavior, his patterns. And so I just asked, I was like, if this isn't really going anywhere, or if I'm not really feeling it anyways, why not? Let's just
Right.
ask the real questions. Let's get
Right.
to it. And he said it. He was like, I want to be pursued. That was the word he used. And I was just like shocked
And at
that
that point,
I knew it was a
did
no
you?
for
I
me.
was going to say, I hope you did pursue.
I did not pursue.
Okay.
I was just like, you know what? In my mind, I said, you know what? The next time I see him, I'll just show up in a suit and tie and have a ring box, and just be like, do you want to be my wife?
Is that
Like,
what it
is
is?
that what you want for me? Because
Because
what does
that's
that mean? You want me to
no,
pursue
no. You're
you?
like, have you seen me? Do you know who I am?
Yes. So
Hello.
needless to say, that did not work out,
Well, I have to say that unfortunately, we will hit lots of those
Yeah,
before we hit the right. Before we
exactly.
hit the right one. I think my last, what was it? Last person that I was talking to. What did he say? Well, if you're so independent and you pay all your bills,
Mm-hmm.
then what do you need me for? And I said, if you can't answer that question,
Yeah,
then this is not for us.
exactly. Mm. I have a
Dating is
lot to say about
absolutely
that.
very interesting, I must tell you.
I will leave it at that, because I could really get into that, because I saw a wonderful discourse about just men and wanting to feel needed, right? But when you say, "Hey, I need something," and then they'll be like, "You're too needy,"
So then where's the boundaries?
where
Yeah,
does that work?
yeah.
So, but yeah,
Whole
fun
different
stuff.
topic on that.
Right? We
Absolutely.
can go into a whole nother segment, podcast segment about that. But I just wanted to check in with you and see how dating was for
Yes,
you. That seems like it's going good.
it
So
is. And I'm
yeah,
in a very happy place
love that.
with myself. I take myself out a lot.
Yeah,
I love me. I love dating myself.
yeah.
I'm the best company ever.
Yeah, and that's right. Yeah, I can vouch for that.
Thank you.
And I will say, yeah, you said like just getting out there. That for me, coming from like a semi-toxic relationship and like putting myself back out there, I realized like I don't go a lot of places, and so
They're not gonna come knock on your door
right, I'm like, what is the
unless it's the
mailman
Amazon
gonna?
guy. I don't know, Chrissy. Come on now.
So that's like a good one, like just like taking yourself out.
Yes.
Like, go outside. How are you going to meet someone if you never
Explore
even,
different coffee shops,
right,
parks. Go sit, get a
in the
book, sit at the
wild?
park. Absolutely.
Out in the wild. I love that.
Yes.
So tell everyone how they can stay in touch with you. What can we expect in the future from you? You know, are you still dating? Are you on the market? We want to know. We want to
We want to know. No,
know.
absolutely, yes. I have my Instagram,
Okay.
and we'll be able to share that. And then I'm also, of course, on Facebook, TikTok,
Okay.
but we'll definitely get that information out there.
Yeah.
And yes, I am still dating, absolutely.
Okay.
But I'm super excited, and I want people to understand, women to understand that you're not alone. There's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
us out here that are going through this,
Mm-hmm.
but we can overcome them.
Right.
Don't be
Absolutely.
scared. God's with us, and
Yeah.
He always guides our way.
Right. Love that.
Yes.
All
And
right.
one final thing I think that I want
Yeah.
to leave with everybody is,
Okay.
it's from Kyle Fuller, and he says, the power of your journey isn't in arriving, it's in all the moments that you dare to keep on going.
Mm.
Don't ever give up,
Right.
because you've got a bright future in front of you.
Dare to keep going. And it's hard
Absolutely.
sometimes, but very, very true.
It is.
All right. Well,
I,
thank you.
I
Thank.
appreciate you so much. I really do. Thank you
Yeah.
for having me.
Yeah.
And much more to come.
Yes, absolutely. Violet Mendez, you guys.
Thank you.